morning, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Morning Prep video for Monday, June 15th. Well, we've had a lot of chop. You could see this on a 10-minute chart where we had one move and we go sideways. We had one move and then sideways. One move lower and sideways on Friday. So price action has been pretty much horrendous. We've been consolidating in these ranges for the last 12 to 14 weeks, let's say, and even pretty much back from starting from November. I mean, it has been just horrible trading. The price action has just been horrendous, as I mentioned. What are we going to do this week? Well, we have a lot on the calendar. We have some economic data that we need to pay attention to. As far as today, 8:30. Then we have, I believe, 9:15. We have some economic data coming out. But most importantly, we have a two-day Fed meeting again where Janet Yellen will make a speech at 2 or 2:15 on Wednesday. We are down in the pre-market, so that's based on Greece talks again. So now Greece is in the forefront again. Everybody's watching what Greece does. It's been going on like this for the last 5 to 7 years, and I just don't understand how traders can trade around something like that when we know what the inevitable is. They will default. There's nothing. They cannot pay their debt. So bottom line is we have to still do what markets are reacting to and watch what they're doing. But this week's going to be interesting. We have quadruple witching that comes out on Friday, which usually ends bullish. And that really is a kind of a pivotal point here in the markets because that kind of decides where the market trend would be. And again, of course, the short-term trend would be in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I keep saying that we're going to see some weakness. And we have been seeing weakness. But what's happening is, as you can see here, we pop up and then we just sell off again. And prior to this 2 days, we were down a little bit. We had some market weakness. You could see here from being up back where we are, we sold off a little bit. But again, you know, one big move, and then we get a push to sideways. Then they gap down and push lower. So some of the trading has been not so great. But we do have the two-day meeting from the Fed, which I do think that we might be slow going into the 2 days. I do see that the markets will probably put in some sort of a low and then rally going into quadruple witch, and then we'll see where we go from there. So starting off today, I would like to sell rallies if it's possible, so the market just doesn't kind of fall out of bed here. But if we can get a good pop into some key resistance areas, then I'm going to look to sell rallies. If not, then we just have to be patient here and see what the markets do and let the market tell us what direction it wants to go for today. All right, so let's take a look at some of these indices. We'll do a top-down approach from weeklies going into dailies. Here is where I think where I said we're looking to pull back to. So probably 2005 on the ES. You're looking at least another 70 S&P points, which really could happen in 3 to 4 days. But remember, even if we pull to this trend line, we will still be bullish here, okay? So just keep that in mind, guys. I just don't want anybody getting heavily shorted the market here. Now, again, daily chart looks terrible. Well, look what's happening here. All the way getting back from the end of February, we just literally went in this range-bound trading. But we are making lower lows and higher lows and higher highs. So that still can't deny that. Watch this low here. That's going to be the key factor at 207.69. We might even get back down there in the next couple of days, but I think that would be the big area. If you look at the volume profiles, look over to your left, you'll see what I'm saying. We have this little area of thin zone, so we could push and flush right down to that, but that's going to be a key area to hold here. You can see that. And I'm just going to move this up right now. That's going to be that key area to hold, and it just kind of fits in perfectly with these volume indicators here. So that's that low we're looking to hold and going to need to hold. Otherwise, we're going to shoot to that 200-day moving average, okay? We do see a little positive divergence in the RSI and MACD. So it's starting to curl up higher. We still got a lot of work to do. But, again, guys, we could flush a little bit lower before we go higher. So that's something that we need to pay attention to for this morning. All right, IWM Weekly, clearly the most strongest index of them all is the IWM Weekly, which is the Russell 2000 ETF. And you can see here, we've been kind of just creeping up along here. Look at all these bottom and tails pushing up higher. We are above this clear 120, which we cleared that bit major hurdle. And you see the daily chart, we've just been going sideways as well since the end of February. I mean, we really haven't gone anywhere. Very sloppy trader. And remember what I said, IWM, the Russell 2000, is pretty much a precursor of what's to come in the other indices. IWM, and the Russell has topped many times before we see market sell-offs. This is clearly not topping. It's just pausing at the upper end of the range, which is quite bullish. Now, remember, it could play catch up to the other indices and then move lower. But right now, guys, I would suspect if the Russell does not sell off, and I mean sell off to a point where we get some good selling, then I still feel the markets will move higher before it starts to roll over and get some sort of a correction. This is the deciding factor. Pay attention to what the Russell does here, okay? And, of course, the transports, but we'll get to that in a moment. Here's the Dow Jones, real sloppy-looking chart here. As you can see, we had a doji. We're below the 20 and the 50. And, again, this is going to be the area that needs to hold right up in here. And that little spinning top here, that little indecision candle, take that low out of the equation, then I think we get to the 200 here on the Dow. All right, now we have the transports. Here's the weekly. Terrible, terrible looking chart. As you can see, we broke below this key support area, which coincide nicely with the 50-day moving average, and now we're below it for several weeks on end now. Now, if we lose this area here, and this is what I keep watching, this is a big area. If we lose this, look at this thin zone. We could easily get right back to this 118 area. So IWM, very important, our secondary leader. First leader is going to be our transports. If we break down from here, and I say if we take this little local low out here and this little support area, then look for a quick flush to the 200, and then, of course, this area here, which come in at 118.32. That's something that will not go unnoticed, okay? But for now, markets look like they're repricing the transportation sector. So let's just see what happens. You can see the daily chart just looks horrendous. Lower lows and lower highs continues. Bearish symmetry. We have bearish price action, just looking like crap. That's just the way it is, guys. And right now, the markets really not really paying too much attention to it. But eventually, like I said, if we start really breaking down hard, I think it will. And this is going to be that new area that we're looking for here, is this low. We take that low out on a closing basis. Look for a flush down to this area here, okay? Lastly is the Qs, and then you can see Qs have been holding up pretty well, as well as the Russell 2000. But we're going to need to see this really convince us with volume that we're moving up and starting to challenge the highs. At the moment, as you can see, we're starting to break down again. And this is going to be that trend line area of support. It's going to be that next area here, okay? Hope it helps. Let's see what happens this week. Again, we got a lot of economic data. We got 2-day Fed. Be careful. And remember, keep in mind in the back of your head that at one point in time, we're going to see some bullish price action, I would suspect, going into Thursday, maybe even Friday, quadruple witching. But remember, a lot of these big firms, they square up positions prior to Friday. So I do think Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to see some big moves, okay? Just keep that in mind, guys. Right now, we're looking to sell any type of decent rally going into resistance. And if that does not happen and we continue to sell off, then we're just going to have to hope for the best. But if we do start to break to the upside, we get a trend change, then we'll change and adapt accordingly. Have a great day, everybody. Hope it all helps, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.